Hey, good morning everybody. Welcome back to another video. Friday video. Happy Aloha Friday. And yeah, this is like my fifth time trying to record this because I made the other one almost half an hour long. And I don't think you guys would sit through a half an hour video about Google Plus. I'm trying to condense it to the most interesting and best parts of the conversation or whatever. Anyways, before I get into that, Facebook just recently dropped a tool that's going to allow you to move a lot of your media, so your photos and videos, from Facebook to Google Photos without the need of having to download all that media and then upload that media to Google Photos to seamlessly transfer. It's a really solid tool. You can look it up on how to use it on Facebook. And this tool, the same tool, will be used to connect with other platforms and share that media as well. So once those other media outlets connect with Facebook's tool to transfer media, you'll be able to share it. But for right now, Google Photos is one of them that's already currently connected, and they were doing a trial on it. It's now rolled out to every Facebook account, so you're able to do that. Just letting you guys know, heads up, because I can tell you guys, I got some old photos on Facebook that I just don't want to download all that and then re-upload it to Google Photos. So transferring it this way, much more easier. But anyways, guys, Google Plus is finally going to the graveyard, like fully going to the graveyard. A weird turn of events is that Google resurrected the name Currents and is using that to replace the name Google Plus for its G Suite users and business accounts, to have a business platform for business users, basically being like, you know, hey, you didn't create your own company intranet, so we are going to be that for you. Here's Currents, use it. Crazy enough as it is. And so the name goes to the graveyard. Kind of sad, because Google Plus was a very solid platform, okay? Believe it or not. And people will be like, it's not, or I didn't like it. And that's cool. You don't like it. You don't have to use it. But there were a lot of us that enjoyed using it. And right now, a lot of us stragglers, I like to identify ourselves as, are the squag pegs in the round holes, because we're trying to find a place to go to. Like, some went to Facebook, some went to Twitter, some went to MeWe. And, yeah, it's just, it's working. It's working out for us, for the most part. It is, but it's just missing that certain essence that Google Plus had. For those people that actually enjoyed using the platform and really took the time to use it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of us really thought that when they moved Google Plus over to G Suites that they were going to develop some sort of new social platform. And Google just gave us the whole middle finger to us, because they were like, oh yeah, for those people that were using Google Plus, don't worry, you guys can still use something similar to that. Your Google account is your social platform, and you can connect with your friends and send them a little message. But it's like, really? Yeah, I mean, come on now. Come on. Google. You know, I always wanted to sit with the Google Plus development team and listen to the ideas they come up with, so I can have a really good laugh, like going to like a stand-up comedy house. Because it's just like, what were you guys doing? I mean, literally. So when it was consumer access, the team itself is at fault for the downfall of it. Okay? The Google Plus development team is responsible for the death of the consumer side. They are. It's their fault. I blame them. I blame them because they didn't do their job. Okay? Google Plus was like a house. They didn't maintain the house. They didn't clean the house. They didn't mow the front yard and the backyard. They didn't take out the trash. I mean, those are analogies that exemplifies what the Google Plus team did with Google Plus. They didn't scrub non-used accounts. I would have done that. I would have been like, hey, we have too many accounts that we don't see activity on. Let's send them an email, because obviously you need a Gmail to sign up for this thing. Let's send them an email, say, hey, we noticed that there's no activity on your Google Plus account. You have 10 days to log in and use it. If not, we are going to delete the whole thing. And then that way, if no one responded back, delete the account, scrub it. That's taking out the trash. You know, they didn't clean the house internally, so they didn't do security checks. They didn't make sure that, you know, that it was safe, data privacy. And they want to go off and hide their pride and be like, oh yeah, you know, someone discovered that we had data privacy issues. Come on, Facebook had it and they're still around. Y'all could have been around with Google Plus too. You just had to go in there and fix the problem. And if it was a problem that was like natively built in, then work on something new. Something new that in like 6 months' time, a year's time, you could have migrated everybody from Google Plus over to this platform that was much safer, had better security, and was going to be well maintained. There were so many things you guys could have done with that. They didn't mow the front yard or the backyard, right? They didn't do enough advertising. I mean, they did some sort of aggressiveness by telling people that in order to have a YouTube profile, you needed a Google Plus profile, but that was kind of insane and a very aggressive push. You know, if I was going to go that route with Google Plus and I was the head of the Google Plus team, I would have like positioned it in a better way. I would have been like, you know what, YouTube makes it much more easier for content creators to, maintain their profile if they just connected it to Google Plus profile, and all the information on Google Plus would be on YouTube. And then also, if you're a viewer and you have a YouTube account so you can follow your favorite content creators, the Google Plus platform is your best way to connect with them. And I would have reached out to all the major YouTubers who have been pushed by YouTube and say, hey, look, Google Plus is where everyone's going to have to go to have a YouTube account. So, to invite them and welcome them, be more socially active with them on Google Plus, help us out, I would have done that. And then people wouldn't have been so pissed off about it. I mean, yeah, they would have been pissed off because they'd be like, I don't want to make another Google Plus account, but it would have worked. Because me personally, as a content creator, I hate having to like put my social links in the description of the video. I hate having to tell you guys to go to Facebook and follow me, go to Twitter and follow me, go to Instagram and follow me. Some people are like, I just made a Instagram so I can check out your Instagram account. And it's like, wow, I kind of feel like I forced them to make an Instagram account. They didn't do that solely on their own from the get-go. So Google Plus would have been like an easy spot to connect with your content creator that you're a fan of and interact with them on a daily. I would have pushed it that way. So yeah, they didn't mow the lawn. They didn't make it a good reason to be on the platform. They didn't advertise it very well. So a lot of laziness, a lot of, neglection was the death of Google Plus, and they converted it to a business intranet style, which is now being turned into what's called Currents. And you guys remember Currents? Currents used to be was Currents, which was a news source, became Play Magazine, then became merged with News and became Google News, what we have today. Me personally, I really would love to see Google try another attempt at a social platform for a lot of us, because Google Plus was a safe haven and a safe space for a lot of us that didn't really want to deal with too much of what we see on Facebook and Twitter. Now, those things were there, but they weren't pushed to you as they are pushed on Facebook. Like on Facebook, you get things on your feed that you just don't have any interest in, because the algorithm thinks that this is something that everybody would want, so it pushes it to everybody. And Twitter is Twitter. I mean, Twitter to me has always been like short shares, never really like a super, I mean, it's a sociable platform, but it's not like how Facebook is, how Google Plus was. So I really feel like that, they can bring this back. They can give us something that we can use. Google Plus was full of a lot of cool things. I mean, it had the same things like, Facebook has groups, Google Plus had communities, and the communities were very active, real active and really good. You had a lot of different communities out there. Some, my favorites were the photography ones, people that shared their photography and their photos that they made. There were people that, went the whole 9 yards with their cooking shows. They did cooking shows from home, and they're not even TV chefs. And you had the techies and the nerds that loved following their communities and exchanging ideas, information. There were people who built communities dedicated to Nexus phones, dedicated to Pixels. There were even people who built communities dedicated to iPhones. It was there. Oh my God, I really would love to see another social platform. Like the square pegs were forced into the holes of different social platforms like MeWe. I mean, people hit me up. They're like, hey, you know what? I know you're talking about you miss Google Plus. Try MeWe. MeWe is just like Google Plus. And it's like, yeah, it may be, but it's not. That's the problem. It's not, right? It's not. Someone can tell you like, hey, you know what? Try this generic fruit drink. It's just like Kool-Aid, but it's not going to be like Kool-Aid, because I like Kool-Aid, okay? Don't get me wrong. I like Kool-Aid. And you're not going to fool me with some sort of knockoff generic brand to say that this is exactly, like Kool-Aid. It's just not. It's just not. So Google, please, hear our call. We want this social thing back. You don't have to bring it on a major scale like you were trying to do to compete against Facebook and Twitter. Don't compete against them. Just make us something that we could use. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. And wow, I actually kept it under 10 minutes, just about 10 minutes. So that's cool. That's a lot better than 30 minutes when the first time I recorded this. And I was able to condense a lot of what I wanted to say into this. So pat me on the back. But anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button. That lets me know. If you didn't like the video, thumbs down it. And then tell me why in the comment section that you didn't. Leave your feedback, any experiences you have with Google+. Would love to hear that, to share that with everybody else on the platform. So you guys can do that also in the comment section of the video. Links in the description to my socials. And if you just found my channel and subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. I really appreciate that. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. And you can also check out my back catalog of videos that I have on the channel itself. There's something for everybody. So that is it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Right now, the podcast is on pause. And I am working up to launch season 5. So season 5 of the podcast is going to launch. And yeah, so that's why there's no audio podcast at this point. But you guys get it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to jam out. You guys should too. As always, aloha.